Beware the one size fits all approaches. The reason I say this is because there is something going on in the industry right now. Google's constantly changing things, as all of you guys know. One of the changes that they've done recently is they've done away with what's called accelerated delivery, and they've now made standard delivery mandatory. So to give you a little background in terms of what that means is within the Google Ads platform, which it's now called Google Ads, by the way. It's not AdWords anymore. It's just Google Ads. So with Google Ads, you have an option on delivery. Delivery means how often the ad runs. So not to get too much into the weeds here, but we have always found that doing accelerated delivery works better. And typically we have our campaigns on accelerated versus standard. Accelerated basically means to run the ads indefinitely, run the ads as much as possible within the bids that we're setting. Standard delivery means that Google will have kind of more of a rotation, and their AI will try and automate and determine like the best time to run the ads, and they'll kind of do that on their own. So there's kind of less control over when the ads actually show up. So now they've made it mandatory to switch over to standard because Google is convinced that standard is going to be better for people than accelerated anyway. So they're taking away the choice from us marketers. I recently read an article kind of defending this change, saying that we should have been using standard delivery anyway, and then listed a bunch of reasons why accelerated delivery is bad and doing more harm than good. My response to that, and the main reason why you have so much misinformation in internet marketing, where one person hears this and another person hears that, one person says this and another says that, hey, do this, no, do that. And it's really kind of confusing because if you're trying to learn more about internet marketing, you really don't know who to trust, and you don't know who knows their stuff and who doesn't. And the main reason why you run into a situation like that is because every business is different, every industry is different, even every location is different. Therefore, you're going to have certain tactics and strategies that work for one business that don't work for another. That's the main reason. For one business, accelerated delivery could be horrible, but then for the other business, it could work fine, and then you don't have any problems. Markets make a really big deal. Like the way that you advertise somebody out in Great Falls, Montana is going to be a lot different than somebody out in the Metroplex out in Dallas. So it's different. Every market, every location is different. If you're trying to advertise somebody in Appleton, Wisconsin versus Orlando, Florida, you got to kind of do things differently. So one size fits all approaches don't really work, and you got to keep in mind that there's a whole bunch of different tools and skills and tactics and strategies that are out there, and what you want to do is kind of figure out the pros and cons of all of them, and then learn about the business and really figure out what they're trying to accomplish, what they want to do, what types of customers they want, what area they want them from, and then you got to kind of go into your toolbox and figure out, okay, well, how do I deliver that? That's why there's so much misinformation that's out there when you have people saying, this works and then this doesn't. Well, who does it work for and who does it not work for? So you gotta be really careful in saying that. Plus, you might have one business you might have a auto repair shop out in one area where one strategy works, and then an auto repair shop in another area doesn't work. So that's why this internet marketing stuff can be kind of confusing, is because without the experience of knowing what works and what doesn't, it's really, really hard to know who to really trust. And the only reason that I try to be unbiased here, but I'm talking about myself. So of course I'm not going to sit here and say Custom Wave doesn't do a good job and Custom Wave doesn't know what they're talking about. Of course, I'm going to defend myself, but the only reason why I would claim that we know what we're talking about is because of trial and error and kind of knowing what works and what doesn't. To be completely blunt, back when we started doing marketing in 2006, we started as a web design company in 2003 building websites back in the day where people would spend a lot of money on websites because they were kind of hard to do, and there weren't as many people in 2003 that knew how to do them. But we kind of transitioned more into marketing in 2006. And to be blunt, we really weren't that good at it at first. It really took a couple years. We got into marketing because we started having a few web design clients, like one after the other, saying, hey, there's this new Alta Vista search engine, there's Hotbot, there's Ask Jeeves, there's this new thing called Google, there's all these search engines out there, and how do we get our website on there? So I finally connected the dots and thinking in my head like, oh well, we better get on this. So we started doing marketing in 2006, and that's when we started trying to figure out how do we do this whole marketing thing. And again, it took 2 years. Like it took maybe two and a half years of really doing this full time. And by trial and error, we figured out what works and what doesn't. We have an idea, like you can have an idea and a theory and an educated guess of like, okay, I think this is going to work. But you really, in this industry, with how much things change and how different businesses are, and how you want to do one thing for one business, but then another thing for another business, you don't really know if it works until you actually do it. So it's through this experience that you really know how to deliver the results. So I only wanted to make this video just in saying beware of people that are out there that says like, oh, to do internet marketing do this, or oh, this tactic doesn't work. Because I keep up with the industry, and I read it all the time where somebody says, oh, this tactic doesn't work. And for anybody that's out there that's trying to learn more about internet marketing, just want you to be aware of that as you're reading people's articles and what they have to say.